Hey everybody, this is Brother Stucki checking in with Visual Media 130. We are into week 7 and things are getting exciting. Let's go ahead and take a look for a minute here. We're just going to come in here to our content folder. We'll go into week 7. This week we're going to be introducing you to Adobe Illustrator. Adobe Illustrator is one of my favorite programs in the Adobe Creative Cloud. And I know that if you put an effort into it, you will greatly enjoy using it as well. I have used Adobe Illustrator every day for many years. I love working with it. I love what it can do. And the great thing about it is the more you learn about it, the more you realize you can do. I don't know if that makes sense or not, but basically what I'm saying is the more I learn, the more I realize I don't know. I learn continually every day when I use Adobe Illustrator. There are so many features and there are so many things that are changing all the time with it and being added and making it better. And the more I learn, the better I get. And that's the great thing about it. Adobe Illustrator can be used for a lot of different things. I use it for a lot of different invitations and postcards and brochures and flyers. But another great thing it's good for is for illustrating. This week, we're going to be making icon sets. This is part of a 2-week project. And icons are a very simple, fun project to do with Adobe Illustrator. But first of all, most of you probably need to learn how to use Adobe Illustrator. And so what we want you to do is come in here into week 7, and I'll have some notes here for you. And then you're going to come down here to this Adobe Illustrator worksheet, and you're going to click right here. Now when it opens, you'll see that you need to have the Adobe software. Most of you probably do. So make sure you have it downloaded and running. And then you need to download the worksheet right here. It's pretty easy to do. Just click on it, follow the instructions, and you'll have no problem. Now you'll notice here we have 16 videos laid out for you, and they're all around 2 or 3 minutes. And they will walk you through the steps of how to do each item on the worksheet. So there's really no excuse. If you pull out the worksheet and you watch these videos and you spend about an hour working on it, you will be able to do most of the things proficiently enough to complete the project. Okay? Now, I'm not saying that's going to make you a professional designer in Adobe Illustrator by any means, but this will help you and introduce you to the different tools that you need to know how to use for this week's project. You'll probably need to spend more time in practice, and as you start working on your icon project, you will likely run into some confusions, but reference these videos for it as well. And if you have a specific question you're trying to solve, look on YouTube and see if you can find an Adobe Illustrator tutorial that shows you how to do exactly what you're asking it to do. Let's go ahead and go back for a minute now. So we have the worksheet, and then we come into the icon set draft. Let's go ahead and look at that for a minute. You can see that there's some instructions. We have our draft report as usual and our draft design. Now, I wanted to point out, all of you need to make sure and do this part as well. Last week with your magazine spreads, a lot of you didn't actually include your draft reports, and that cost you some points. And so please be aware of that and make sure to include your draft report as well. You'll be submitting them on iLearn, but you'll also be submitting your draft on Facebook. And that way your students, your co-workers, or what would be the word that I'm trying to say here? Basically your classmates, how about that? Your classmates will be able to critique your work and you'll be able to critique theirs. You'll be required to leave some comments. And then in week 8, I will create a video where I critique everything, and that will give you guys a few days to make your changes and update your final project and turn it in. So you have 2 weeks for this, but it's going to be looked at in a week, so you'll want to start working on it right away. Now, here are some examples of icon sets. Notice this one right here. I love to look at it and talk about it. This is basically 6 different icons of fruit. We have a pear, apple, orange, lemon, grapes, and a strawberry. Look at them. What do you see that makes them look similar to each other? They're all stroked instead of filled, which means it's just an outline drawing of them. And this is done in Adobe Illustrator. They're all about the same size. They all use similar colors to each other. They look like they belong. They look like they're part of a family. And that's what makes them great. You'll see some other examples. I encourage you to look at them. And then you'll want to make sure and meet all of the requirements by the time you turn in your first draft. So the first requirement is obviously to use Adobe Illustrator. Second, you need to have 4 to 6 original icons. They have to be your original work. They need to communicate a single message. When I look at this, what's the word that comes to your mind? Pear, apple, orange, lemon, grapes, strawberry. So they communicate a simple message. You don't want to use text or gradients or drop shadows or other effects in Illustrator when you're working with these types of projects, when it comes to icons. So don't use any of them. And just continue and read through all of the instructions for submitting, and you should have no problem getting through this project very easily and very quickly. It will be fun if you put the effort and time into it. I look forward to seeing them. Now, I'll just show you really quick. I've created some icons for my job at BYU. Here we have some folding cards and some envelopes and a letterhead, postcards, gift tags, pass-along cards, receipts, and logos. These are made available to a certain group of people who need to be able to access these items. You can see that these communicate pretty easily individual messages of what they need. And so you'll want to just follow something like that. You can see that they're all part of the same family. They're all the same color. They're all about the same size. They look like they were designed as a family, and that's what we expect out of you. So really, it's pretty easy. Finally, let's just take a look really quick at LDS.org. I have a little spiritual thought I wanted to share with you. This is shared by Elder Neil A. Maxwell of the Quorum of the 12 in 1982, so about 35 years ago, and he shared this talk on creativity. A couple of things that I wanted to point out to you. He says, creativity, therefore, is not simply innovation, but organization. Okay? We need you to plan and organize. Clearly, self-discipline is required as part and parcel of that self-discovery, which is paralleled by the discovery of the universe is vast and small, of which we are a part. There's a lot to say in that message right there. We are a very small part of this universe, but we have a lot to offer. You can make a difference. You can change your perspective of things and the perspective of others by producing beautiful artwork for different purposes. And that's what we want to teach you here. We hope that you will put innovation and organization into your piece and that you'll be disciplined and see what you can come up with this week. Now, finally, I just want each of you to know that I'm praying for you. I know that things can be tough, and sometimes it's hard to be creative. And one of the things that I do when I'm having a hard time is I pray for help. And then I take some time to ponder and think about it. I call upon the great creator of all of the worlds to help me, one of the little parts of his creation. Notice right up here, was it not the creator of the worlds who called our attention to the beauty of the lilies, the power in the tiny mustard seed, and the leaves on the fig tree? Those are all so insignificant in this world, but he called attention to them, and so he surely will call attention to each of us. I know that to be true, and I know he answers our prayers and sends inspiration when needed. Now, also, other resources that I encourage you to use are: one, me. Make an appointment to meet with me during my office hour. I'm more than happy to meet with every single one of you. All you have to do is ask. Second, take advantage of the tutors that BYU-Idaho has offered. You can meet with them for up to an hour at a time, 3 times a week. If you're struggling with Adobe Illustrator, they are the people to ask for help. they can access your screen, they can see what you're doing, they can show you cool tips and tricks, and all will go well. But it's up to you to do that. I encourage you to do so, everyone. I hope you all have a great week. I'm looking forward to seeing what you can come up with, and we'll talk again. Good luck, everyone.